Hi, my hair is a mess. Please do not comment about it.
Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Isabel.
I want to announce that tomorrow is the last video for the back to school series, and then we're going back to normal scheduling and normal content. If you just arrived, this channel is usually about literature, book recommendations, a bit of study life, but not that much. And we upload a video once a week.
So today's video.
Today we're going to talk about organization. I'm going to give you all the information, all my tips, and all the ways that I organize, which is a bit messy. I found that it's not enough to only have one method or to only try one method until you make it work. Sometimes we need a combination of a few. That's why today we're going to explore the ones I use, and I'm going to show you some potential ones that you could use that I don't use anymore, but that I have tried in the past. The first organization method that I ever used, and the one that I used for the longest amount of years, was an academic planner. Here you have a wide variety of planners that if you pick up one from Walmart, Target, or whatever store, buy it on Etsy, whatever you do, whichever you pick, it is a good method, I find, because it already takes away the effort of having to come up with how are you gonna do it. It marks everything that you need for a student life, and it does the most important part, which is writing down what you need to do. The thing about organizing is that when done correctly, it can be very freeing. If you find a method that you like and that you are comfortable with, you're going to find you are inclined to come back, update it, to mark or cross or however you do it, and to enjoy your free time. If you are the type of person that likes to schedule everything, will feel like you're giving yourself the permission to have fun and to enjoy it because this is the time to have fun and enjoy it. I am often very much like that, but if you're the type of person who only feels overwhelmed about the amount of tasks that they have to do and feels the dread of not having any empty space, here you can see how many empty spaces you will have. Academic planners are also great for students whose only task is studying. I find that when you have a job, when you have other projects, when you might have a very heavy personal life, I don't know, something going on, it is a bit difficult to mix that within the academic planner because the academic planner, as the name says, is for academics. And it might be difficult to fit it in. It might be too little space depending on the format you buy. I find the planner the basic tool for organization, and they're very versatile depending on which one you buy. But if you find that they're a bit constricting or that you cannot put all your information, all your tasks, all your to-dos there, let me introduce you to a different one. We have the bullet journal, and I love my bullet journal so much. I've made a ritual, a routine of updating it every Sunday during the semester. I love coming back to it. I've done bullet journal for approximately 6 years. When it's summer, I don't use my bullet journal. I'll show you what else I use for vacation periods. But during my regular life, which is school and work and now putting content out or just scheduling personal time or time with friends, I like doing bullet journaling in a very minimum way. I consider myself a very creative person, but this is not where I do my creative things. I find that my brain really likes clear and concise for this type of organization. So I do straight black lines, very minimal spreads, and the color comes from each class. I color code all of my classes. Sometimes the class speaks to me. I found that not everyone understands this, but for me, if you tell me 18th century literature, I'm gonna say blue. It's just blue. It talks to me as blue. And if you say American literature, I'm gonna say, I don't know, orange. After I get to know my professors, if I have a course with them again, I tend to identify them also as a color. So it might be that the class itself doesn't speak to me as a green, but the professor for me is a green, so the class is green. I might be the only one, and this might be a sign of mental illness, we will never know. But moving on, I want to show you my bullet journal. For example, this is the month of March. Here you can see very minimum, almost no decoration. I like it this way. Sometimes it is even more minimum. This I was like very going out there. Every color means something. And as you can see, the monthly view is almost empty because I reserve the monthly views for projects, meetings, and exams. And if I don't have any of those, then they're not in the monthly calendar. This was the first week of my last semester, so my spring semester. And as you can see on this side, we have a lot of colors and a very long list. This list and these colors are the readings for week 2, not for week 1. Yeah, you heard me, week 2. I try to always be 1 week ahead, so I start school in my brain 1 week before I already do, and most of the readings I already know what are they going to be because the professors upload them in the school website and all of that. So I go ahead because I don't like reading and constricting myself to the time and feeling tomorrow I need to have this done. So I like to give myself that time. So these are the readings for week 2, and this is week 1. As you can see, the things I have to do for week 1 are the readings for week 2. And that's going to be every week. I'm going to be 1 week ahead unless it's like a big project and I have to work on that. That being said, the left side of my notebook always has this list of readings because that's mostly what I do on the daily I need to read. Then I have one part for reminders and one for priorities. This side is very flexible. Sometimes it's empty. And sometimes I have a to-do list of something else, something personal, a grocery list, a video idea, anything that comes to mind. It is very important for me to keep track of the dates too, so I keep that in this table. And then the weeks always look something like that. Although I've definitely experimented with other types of spreads. This is a spread for the last week of class when I mostly had to write things. So there were no readings, there were study sessions. These are study sessions, this is the essay I was working on, and the post-it notes are just reminders. Another important part of my bullet journal is the semester at a glance. Again, super minimum, borderline boring, I know, but these are just the months of the semester, and here are marked when the exams are due, when a book has to be read, like a due date of that, a presentation, all of that. Here I can just flip and see that this week of April has 2 things in it. And maybe I should start working on that earlier. Or to just spot difficult weeks. That week of June, I had 2 exams one day after the other. So that was something I was always aware of since the beginning of the semester because I made this spread. For example, I already have my calendar for September, and here you can see I have a lot of extra time now in the summer compared to the regular semester because I try to make it pretty. Yours doesn't have to be pretty, and that is something that I want to emphasize. If you want to do bullet journal, you don't have to be an artist, you don't have to be creative, you just need to find something that works. I would recommend you watch the original video of the creator of this method because he explains it the best, I think, because it is really about to make it functional and to make systems that work for you. And the beauty of it is that after the pages that you fill, everything is just blank. Your notebook can skip to a month ahead. It can have a drawing. It can have a grocery list, whatever that you need to organize your head. I already discovered my formula and what I need to keep in my notebook. So I invite you to also try. Now that I'm doing my master's, that I have to schedule video calls with my friends and family who live in another country, that I have work, that I have side projects that are also for school, but I make my own deadlines. Sometimes my bullet journal, it's a bit short-sighted because I make each month as it goes. I do have the semester at a glance, but again, it is just a semester. So if I have an appointment that I know that I have it in 3 months, with a professor to discuss something else, or that I have something with my friends and I need a reminder because I'm probably going to forget that I need to wake up at 6 a.m. to have a video call with them, then I use Google Calendar. This is what I mean, that there is no single perfect method, or at least I haven't found a perfect method. I have the bullet journal, I have my Google Calendar, and I have other stuff. I just want to show you how you can personalize your Google Calendar. In Google Calendar, what you can do is that you can make different calendars depending on whatever task you want to do. I basically use them as labels. I use calendars, or the option to create calendar, as a label. And because we already said, I use everything with a color coding system. Each class has a color, so everything within that class, either if it's a meeting with a professor, if it's a group study, if it's the exam, I put it here since the beginning of the semester. When I get the syllabus, I input all the dates here, so I already know what's happening with its corresponding color. I also have calendars for personal life, for work, for personal projects, for the videos. Everything also goes here, because it's also very easy to move around, to set up reminders. But here I could see that I will have a big space. Here I could schedule already, and this is something important, you can create your own schedule. I thrive when I have a routine. For example, if I tell to myself and I put in my calendar that every day between, I don't know, 12 and 2 that I have a space in my schedule, I am going to work, I'm going to write, I'm going to read, I'm going to study, I'm going to do whatever I want. But if I put it there, then it's happening because it's in the calendar. And if something is in the calendar, then it needs to get done. This is how I create my routines. I just schedule things for myself. I am my own boss. I am my own teacher. I am my own mom. I like to be spontaneous sometimes. So sometimes I just put fun time. And in the moment, I decide how am I going to spend my fun time. Mostly reading. But if you are someone like me that feels guilty for having fun time if no one has approved this fun time before, maybe we should go to therapy. But we should also already use this knowledge that we had about ourselves and be like, okay, this is how I am. And I gave myself too much anxiety because I don't schedule fun time. So I will just schedule fun time. You can totally also do this in any other, it doesn't have to be Google Calendar. It can be your phone calendar. It can be an actual calendar. But what I like about Google Calendar is that option that allows you to create several calendars color-coded and send you reminders. And also because I have it on my iPad and I have it on my phone and it is always there and it's easier for me to pull out and be like, okay, I have this with my friend and I have this in school and I have this with a mentor. And you can also share this calendar with whomever you want, a partner, a friend, a parent, and they're gonna see what are you going to be doing. You can, I don't know, see when both of you have space and time to hang out. We are not going to only talk about digital stuff here. I try to keep a balance of organizational techniques. So I'm gonna redirect your attention to the board over there. So I used to have a board like this when I was in community college. I use a Cork Board and a planner and my bullet journal as the main 3 things for my organization. So I'm gonna recreate it for you because right now I mostly use it to pin on my German verbs and my schedule and just little drawings I make. But I'm gonna show you what you can do with a board. So I cleaned the cork, I took off the calendar. First, to talk about the calendar, just get a paper one of whatever you want. It can be, I don't know, hairstyles, cats, Taylor Swift, nature, whatever you want. And here you're going to do what I showed you for the bullet journal. You're going to put exams, assignments, meetings, birthdays. Make sure that you're color coding everything. And maybe if you need at first, you can have like a little piece of paper attached to it with the key of what all of this means. So you're going to do that with your paper calendar. We're gonna put it on aside for a bit. I already have all the days of the week in little post-it notes to make it as cute as you want. I bet that you have a notebook laying somewhere with empty sheets of paper, or that you just don't know what to do with it, or maybe just plain printer paper. It doesn't matter. We're gonna get a sheet of the aforementioned paper, and with a ruler. This ruler I had since my first day of elementary school. My first year. It was the first year of elementary school. I was 6, 7 years old. I picked up this from Walmart and I never looked back. It has been with me ever since. I am 24. You can do the math. And every time I pick it up, I think of how far I've come. But whatever ruler that you have, it doesn't have to be a highly sentimental one. You're going to do a little table. And this table can be for readings. It could also be for assignments. It can be for projects. Here you either write readings, assignments, projects, whatever that you picked, and then the due date, and then a check mark. For me, it's going to be readings, okay? Readings. Fabricate readings because, as I said, I am not at school just yet. So let's say that we have 5 classes. We picked 5 colors. Oops, I missed one. Also very important, when you divide your assignments and write them down in your list, put them in order of which one needs to get done first, even if you don't do them in that order when you actually schedule them for the week. It's just easier to see, more urgent. And let's say these are our readings for the week, okay? We take off our page without any fear. And now going back to our cork board. Now, when I had this organization method in community college, I also bought post-it notes that corresponded with each color-coded class. So every time I had an assignment, I would get the corresponding color and I would write down that thing in that specific post-it note and then put it on my board. And it doesn't have to be a cork board. It can be a dry erase board. It can just be a poster paper. It can be a cartulina. I don't know how you say cartulina in English, but it can be whatever you want it to be. It also can go directly on the wall. I don't do it on the wall because I feel like it always falls down. And if you do it on the corkboard, it's more difficult for it to fall. You also don't need the weekend part if you don't want to. I put it because I do a bit of schoolwork in the weekends as well. But for example, you're going to grab a smaller post-it note if you want, or the same size, just like the color. Let's say this is for the blue class. And we are scheduling this on a Sunday, looking at our week ahead, and we say, okay, on Tuesday, we're going to do this assignment. And this is gonna fall down because these are not the best post-it notes ever. But let's put a little mark there. We pin it there and we see that blue, we're doing that assignment. What happens if we do not accomplish this assignment? We have way too many, well, then we can just move it another day. This is why we do everything with 1 week of advantage. As you already got from this method, this is basically the bullet journal, just in a more visual, big scale way of representing it. And if you feel that you're more attracted to this, go for it. It will require a bit of the investment. If you want to color code and use the special, you have to buy the special post-it notes with the special colors. You need to be using paper all the time, which is also not ideal. But one of the advantages that I find of this board is that it's very visual. So if you're a visual person, you're going to like it more, and it's also very tactile. So actually putting that little papers and organizing it makes you feel like you're in control of your time and your week more than if you're just using an iPad or a computer. One of those aspects of control and feeling that you are the one moving all the threads comes if you do planner or bullet journal with pen and paper, that I feel like it's a bit lost with the computer, but it might just be me. In those types of assignments that we need to continuously work on and we want to divide them as much as we can, I find that this method is just fantastic. The next method requires a bit of a learning curve, so it is great if you're just starting the semester or maybe you're still enjoying the last days or last weeks of vacations. This is the perfect time for you to commit to this type of organization, and it is Notion. I am not sponsored by Notion. They probably don't even know who I am, which is fine because I still love them. Notion is this digital space where you can create your own methods of organization. It mostly works with an empty space where you create your own pages depending on what you're interested in tracking there. You can use it for your school notes, and if you want a video on note-taking methods in Notion or in other platforms, leave me a comment down below. But you can have your school classes there, all your projects there, your thesis, your recipes, your finances, learning another language. I am often surprised at all the many ways that people have found to utilize Notion as a very good tool for organization in their lives. If you want a more in-depth video, I can make that, or you can also watch other people's videos on Notion, because I know that that's what I love doing. But I am going to show you mine. It is not like wow, and I'm only showing you the academia side because the other things has very personal stuff. I'm also going to take away my student number. Just, I don't know, why would you want my student number, but whatever. Right now you should be seeing my screen if I did it correctly. I have a cute little image here. This is not my template, that's why I won't have it available, because I remember I took some things from someone else and then something else. Here you can see my unit courses of my current semester. If I click here, you could see, well, yeah, you hear the past semesters, you can see all the other courses I'm taking in this university. And if you would to click on them, you could access that course specifically. For example, if we access novels of 1962, okay, here you should see novels of 1962, which is a past semester, a past class I took. It was 4 credits, it was the number of the class. I took away the name of the professor and the exact location because of privacy. But here we have the books we had to read and the ISBN for when I was looking into buying them. Here I also had the professor's email, but of course I deleted it. We have an attachment up here of the syllabus, like the actual file that the professor sent. But I went over the syllabus and I make my own little table here. Let me see if I can make it bigger so you can see. Okay, here you can see the big table of readings. This is the day that the reading is due. This is how you find the reading. This is the author's last name. And this was something that was due for this class. We had to select 3 passages of this article. This was for session 1. And when I would come back and I would see in my bullet journal, I would see Jackson due September 20th. So I would come back here and after finishing, I would mark it in my bullet journal, but I would also mark it here as done. And when I would come back every Sunday to schedule what was up for next week, I would always refer to my Notion pages. I find it easier to go back to my Notion of each class and see what needs to be scheduled than flipping over PDFs of syllabus, going into the school's website, or having printed paper of the syllabus, which I've had in the past. And I still find Notion way more comfortable than any of the others. That's how every page looks. Right now, I have the view of current classes, and I usually just put the color of what each class I'm going to give. So this is the blue class, orange class, purple class, yellow class, green class, and my German class, which German flag, even though we are in Switzerland. If we go back to the academia view, I also have a little part here when I have when the semester begins, when the semester ends, a little calendar that is synced to my Google Calendar for the assignments. So when I start having exams or assignments due, they will pop up here as well. And I have also this for assignments, but it's mostly writing projects like papers and my Rosario Castellanos translation. Here is not completed, even though I turned it in on March because my professor hasn't given it back. So I don't mark it as completed, and because it's not completed because I don't have a grade for it. But if I click on this Sor Juana paper I made, this is everything. This is my secondary literature, my primary literature, online secondary literature, books, ideas, possible things to go over, but I didn't end up doing it because I haven't heard the reviews back, so I don't know if I would have any space to add this. Ideas to develop, the thesis statement that I came up with, or like the overall question. These are useful links going back to my university and how they want their work done. And here I have a little picture that I found on Pinterest and I thought it was inspiring. For example, if we go to my Rosario Castellanos project, you can also see that I have something very similar. The page, this is Rosario Castellanos. I don't know if you know how she looks like. I think she's a very pretty lady. My translation is due in 3 days. I have this quote here that it changes, I think, every day. And here you can see secondary literature, still to-dos, and this is the master list of things that still need to get done. All of this have reminders of when it's due that I get to my phone. I have status of what is a priority, what is not started. This have to be started after I turn it in, so I'm not very worried about that. And here we also have a board of translation starters. And actually, I need to update it because yesterday I finished a bunch of things. These are completed, so I don't have to worry about that. And these have been translated, so they need editing. And this is in progress, but it's actually going to go back to red because I'm not going to, I thought I was going to translate it, but it ended up being too long, so they're just gonna end up being read and not translated. So here I see that how my project is doing, and you can divide it as in many tasks as you want. And if I click in one of my tasks, you can also see some notes I took while I was reading. This is not necessary, and I mostly don't look back at these notes, but it just makes me understand my work better. If you're saying, Isabel, I don't want to have multiple organization planning things because then I'm never going to be able to keep up with all of that, I would recommend you either do a planner or Notion. Google Calendars can also help you out, but it also doesn't have the to-do list, and I find it limited if you want to also divide those type of things. It just seems altogether more cohesive as like a second brain. But as I said, it does have a learning curve, and if you do want to have premium, I believe that you have to pay unless you have an institutional email for the school discount. But I definitely love Notion. I've been using Notion for 1.5 years, and I love it for school. And for now that I'm not going to school, but I have my projects, I only organize with Notion and Google Calendars. My bullet journal is only for the semester. And I also love the versatility of having other things there. I have my recipes there. I have my German there. I have my TBR. Like whatever you want to do, you can do there. And I think it's also very, very worthy of your time to get to learn this tool. Last but not least, we're going to talk about digital planning. This is a bit more if you have an iPad. I could see that you could download this, or you can maybe use the computer, but you could copy these templates for your bullet journal. You can print them as well, or you can just do them in loose leaves of paper, because I use GoodNotes for my note taking for class, and I created these templates that you can download. I'm gonna have a link to my Buy Me a Coffee website where you can download them for free. If you want to leave a contribution, a tip, whatever that you feel like, you can be very generous, and you can also just download the templates. Feel free to do so. But I want to say that if you do donate, thank you so much. You're supporting me, and you're supporting my channel and me making these videos. I am a student like you, so we're not just swimming in gold. This is a template I came up for GoodNotes daily planner, and it's in vertical. Here you can hour block, which is something I only ever do in very heavy weeks, very heavy days. And I feel like you could be risking having a burnout or feeling too overwhelmed by having every hour of your life schedule. Even though I love schedules, I find that a bit too much. But sometimes it is necessary to achieve everything that we want to do, because there are only so many hours of the day. On the left side, you're going to see what a day, because I am a comedian. And here you're going to see your day starts at 6 a.m. Of course, if you wake up later, just ignore that or just block sleeping. Each line represents each hour, of course, to top to bottom. If you do half of I have a personal box for whatever you want to do during that day that doesn't include school. And then your deadlines. This can be for this same day, like things that you want to accomplish today, or it could also be deadlines to the future, something that you just want to keep in mind, like, oh, okay, in 2 days, this is due, so I should prioritize this. And then we have a for tomorrow box. This is very important, because even though we want to keep up with our dream schedule, we need to keep it real. And sometimes we're not going to calculate every assignment correctly. Sometimes we might say, okay, from 10 to 11, I need to finish this piece. Then you might take 2 more hours, so your whole schedule might move and you might feel stressed. It's fine. Move it for tomorrow if you have time. Otherwise, that's why we have our top 3 of priorities, so you know what can be flexible and what has to be done today. Then we have another template. This is for essay planning. And this is for the 3 structure essay I talked about yesterday. Here you have a space for the title, the thesis. Here you can brainstorm what your thesis is going to be like, or if you already have it, you can put it here. And you will remember from yesterday's video that I told you that you have to have an outline. This can be your outline as well if you don't want to do 2 separate. Each box represents each paragraph. Assertion 1, we already talked about what a claim is, your example, your explanation, your significance. And this is just very raw. What is it going to be? It doesn't have to be fancy or very well developed. It can be example, quote, and page 123, assertion. And here at the right, you see a box for source and example. Source and example refers to your secondary literature that you might want to include in this paragraph. If not, you can also just use it for, okay, I want this paragraph to gravitate around religion. In my example of why I want to talk about religion comes from page whatever. Sadly, I don't have many 3-paragraph essays anymore. I mostly have long essays, an extended version of that, which is the same. It is the same, but you are going to find more boxes, continuous boxes, and you're going to find a full page of just paragraph, paragraph, paragraph. If you need more paragraphs, you can double this page as much as you need. And here we have another almost full page and the conclusion. Another vertical planner, which you might recognize as a version of my bullet journal planning. All the boxes are empty, so you can start with Sunday, you can start with Monday, you can start whenever. And here we have a bigger box towards the bottom, which is going to be for readings / assignments, depending on what you want. What you can also do is draw a horizontal line in the middle of this and make 2 lists, one for assignments and one for readings. To conclude, I have a horizontal planner that you can also get. All of this you can get for free. I told you, I'm going to leave you the link. Right, is the same version of what you saw in the previous one, the boxes. This one does start on Monday. I don't know why I did it like that, but I like starting my weeks on Mondays. And you see that it has an extra box for next week. We also have a list for priorities. This is just copy paste of my bullet journal. So for me, this is amazing and perfect. The beauty of digital planning and these templates, other than that they're free, and if you already have the device like an iPad or a tablet, they're very easy to use. It doesn't feel like a big commitment. You can always use them for when you have a lot of things to get done. As I said, if you don't have the device, you can print them. You can print one and put them in one of those sheets that you use for binders. You know, those plastic covers. Put it inside, and then with an expo marker, you can write on top and erase. That's what I used to do for a geography course that I took. I hope you find them useful. I made them with a lot of love, envisioning you using them for your school. Those are the organization methods that I tried, or the ones that I still use to this day for organizing my school and my overall life. I hope you find them very useful, or at least it gives you some ideas for things that you might have not thought about checking out before. If you have any more questions, please leave me a comment down below, or if it's something more private, you can send me a DM over Instagram at isabelsdigest. Thanks for watching. Keep reading, and when you're not, follow me on all my social media, link down below. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye!